24 glass cleaners to rule them all. 24 glass cleaners to find them. 24 glass cleaners to bring them back. And in the darkness, clean the glass. Almost. It's another best of series, this time with glass cleaners. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell button if you like all these detailing tests. Now today we're taking 24 pure liquid glass cleaners. Why are you making this point? Because some glass cleaners like this Autoglym glass polish, they've got a liquid one as well, don't worry about that, contain abrasives which obviously have a different function. And some cleaners like this Soft 99 Nilco contain protection elements that top up your glass sealant. So those are different genre of products, so we're ruling them out. Both companies have got a liquid glass cleaner in this test as well. The products we're looking at are water-based. They typically contain an alcohol solvent like ethanol or IPA, or mixture of both. They can use other cleaners like ammonia in there. They also typically contain a small amount of surfactant. Not loads, because remember surfactants need to be rinsed off typically because they're not volatile like water and alcohol, which will vaporise off there. So it's a balancing act of components that hopefully gives you enough power to cut through your glass, emulsify any grease on there and allow the actual active ingredients to penetrate and dissolve and break down without leaving any smeary residues on your car. That's what we're doing in this test, guys. Some important things. 20 of the products in this comparison were purchased. 4 of them I had sent in previously, which are the Interdetailing, the Turtle Wax, the Envy Car Care and the Soft 99. That is so you can decide if this test is biased or not. So let's move on. How are we testing this, guys? Well, it's very difficult because you can get your glass clean with a bit of detergent, you know, a bit of fairy liquid and some cloths if you try hard enough. So it's a difficult test, this. We are basing it on cost. The cheapest one picks up 24 marks. The most expensive picks up potentially 1 mark, but there's obviously some draws. So, you know, some pick up the same amount of points. We are doing a lab style residue test where we spray these onto our piece of test glass, as you can see down here, allow those volatile components to disappear and examine the amount of surfactant or residues that are left on the glass and how difficult they are to remove. That is only worth 10 marks because lab tests might not reflect how the product works. We're also doing another lab style test where we're using a dirt simulator, which is a concoction that I've mixed up, putting it on the glass and testing all the products, their ability to remove that dirt simulator. Again, that's only worth 10 marks, which is a small amount. After that, we're looking at the packaging, but primarily the triggers, because the triggers on these bottles can make a big difference, and we'll talk about that. You know, if you've got a fantastic product, but a trigger which is going everywhere, you know, all down the side of your car and just not atomising perhaps as well and putting a nice even layer on there for you, that can affect the experience. So that is worth 10 marks as well. Again, not massive. The brunt of this testing is done on user testing, and what I did is I drafted in 10 brave warriors from all corners of the globe. In fact, mainly patrons and friends that are local to me. I'm one of those testers as well, so my opinion only counts for the same as anyone else in the test. What I asked, the question that I asked anyone that can, is what are your top 5 products from 5th to 1st that you would buy or recommend someone else to buy? So it takes into account the price, not what's your favourite regardless of cost. I want to know the ones you'll actually shell out for. So that was the premise. If they picked a product first, it got 20 marks, second 16, third 13, 4th 10 and 5th 7. So if 10 people picked a product, the same product, it would get 200 marks. So there's 200 marks at play here, but loads of marks in the middle for 2nd and 3rd places. So to win this competition, your product has to stand out from the crowd and get recommended multiple times. If you don't get recommended at all, you've got no chance of winning, really, have you? Very little, unless it's all randomised. Might be mathematically possible. Let's get stuck in. We'll start with the cost first. We've calculated the cost based on retail size offerings. So we've taken the nearest 500ml offering, converted it into a price per litre. The reason we've done that is some of these retail offerings don't have bulk offerings. So if we compare bulk with retail, we get a skewed test. This gives us a good idea, fair comparison of price for the guy that wants to go and buy a bottle of glass cleaner. Let's get stuck in and show you the results of the test one value for money. Okay, let's introduce these products and do our cost and value testing at the same time. Starting with the most expensive is the Soft 99 Wash Mist at £31.96 per litre. Then the Adams Glass Cleaner at £27.48 per litre. Then the Turtle Wax Mist at £23.68. Then the Meguiars Perfect Clarity at £23.15 per litre. Then the P&S TrueView at £21.14 per litre. Then the Australian brand NV Clarity at £20.98 per litre. Then the Autobrite Direct Crystal Glass coming in at £20 per litre. Next up we have the Bouncers coming in at £19.90 per litre. Note this product can be diluted 1 to 10, but we've tested it at its full recommended concentration. But I've mentioned to the users about that feature. The same price, guys, is Chemical Guy's Signature Series, also at £19.90, so that's a tie, sorry. Also a tie is the Carbon Collective Refresh at £19.90 per litre. Another tie is the Chemical Guy's, is it C6? No, G6 Perfect Glass at £19.90 per litre. And another tie, the Auto Finesse Crystal Glass at £19.90 per litre. Prices do vary a bit, but I looked up all the prices and tried to do RRP where possible. Next up is the Autoglym Fast Glass at £19 per litre. Then the Angelwax, this is an ammonia based one, coming in, Angelwax Vision coming in at £18.50 per litre. Then we have the Stjarnagloss coming at £18 per litre. And if you look there in the background, you can see that average price now. We're about to cross that when we go beyond Gyeon. So Gyeon glass also tying with Stjarnagloss at £18 per litre. Then we go down to Carpro Clarity. We move down into the green because there's quite a big jump down here, coming in at £14.40 per litre, which I think is pretty good value, especially for a premium ceramic brand. Then we have Interdetailing's Quartz Glass coming in at £13.90 per litre. Then we have the Autoglans Moonshine coming in tied at £13.90 per litre. Then we have the Koch Speed Glass Cleaner coming in at £13.33 per litre, which is fantastic value. Then we have the American Stoner's Invisible Glass coming in at £12.90 per litre. And another jump down, the pen gets even lighter here. The Halfords Glass Cleaner coming in at £8 per litre. Then just pipping it is the Nilco H3 Nil Glass at £7.98 per litre. And in first place, with a whopping value of £2.66 per litre, is the Mr. Muscle, named after me. What's it called? Streak-free shine, platinum window and glass that you can pick up in your kind of local hardware store or supermarket, typically. So there's our top 5 in value, guys. So if you're after just glass cleaners which offer you value, then there's your top 5 products right there. Duke. Next up, residue testing. So I purchased a piece of glass, cut to size, sectioned it off, used pipettes to lay down 1 millilitre of fluid from each of these glass cleaners. Gave them a little shake first. Let the volatile components vaporise overnight, and then that leaves the non-volatile components, typically surfactant, on the glass. Now, the presence of surfactant doesn't mean the product's bad. There's different balances here, as you heard me talk about. Some could be more alcohol-based with less surfactant. Some could be more surfactant-based and have a higher percentage, which will help emulsify them. So the presence of that residue might not be a problem in real life. That's one reason that I didn't put too many marks into this testing. But I wanted to have a look at how stubborn that residue was to remove as well. I've ranked them as follows, guys, so you can have a look at those rankings. The ones that were crystal clear with no residue, I gave them 10 marks. The ones with the most residue, I gave 0. And then there's lots somewhere in between. Note, I've done a separate video on this as well, so if you're really interested, you can watch that, and I'll discuss all of that issue a little bit more on the channel. Residue testing, last place with 0 points. Chemical Guys, then Stjarnagloss 1 point, then Finesse and Meguiars 2 points, Mr. Muscle 3 points, Adams and Autoglans 4 points out of 10, Gyeon into detailing and Halfords 5 points, Koch and Carbon Collective 6 points, all of these 6, Soft 99 Turtle Wax, Autobrite Direct, Bouncers, Angelwax and Carpro 7 out of 10, good showing. These 4 tied with 8 out of 10, Stoners, Nilco, Autoglym and MV Car Care. Very little residue, very easy to remove, but not quite as good as these ones, which I would class as 10 out of 10. Joint winners, P&S True View and Perfect Glass from Gtechniq. The least residue with those 2 products in the testing I've done. Next up we have the dirt simulator testing, guys. Only worth 10 marks again because it can be a little bit arbitrary, this, so the proof in the pudding is the user testing. I did 2 rounds of this. On my test glass I put 2 different versions of the dirt simulator. One, my original version, that's quite heavy and thick and very greasy. Normally I use that for testing surfactants. And I did another version of the dirt simulator which is a little bit less greasy and a bit easier to remove. It was impossible to rank these with a score of like 1 to 10 because most of them were just so close. So I did ones that had no effect on the dirt simulator, one where I could sort of see some of the grit, if you like, you know, the dirt lifting off of the glass, but it didn't, spraying them on didn't, you know, just completely clear it or really lift it. And 10, a pass. None of them you could just spray onto the dirt simulator and they'd clear it. They're not that powerful. And I can't wipe them because at the moment you wipe them, you introduce something which is unmeasurable, you know, and the test becomes silly. You can't judge it by that. So it had to be spraying on or using pipettes and free rinsing. And the ones that passed, I could see like all of the dirt lifting up and moving away with the kind of flow of the liquids. So I've had my best go at trying to gauge the cleaning power with this dirt simulator, and again I'll give you the results. Okay guys, the dirt simulator removal test. I've scored this in ones that passed, ones that were partial and had an effect, and ones that I couldn't see doing anything to the dirt simulator. Okay, so the ones that passed and picked up 10 marks were the Autoglym, the Nilco, the Finesse, the Angelwax, the Stoners, the Autoglanz, the Koch, the MV Car Care and the P&S. The ones, so these ones you'd see like when it's spraying on, the sand or the grit moving, but they never got rid of the last bit of sort of oily film that was left on the panel. Even pure surfactant wouldn't, so perhaps that's beyond what they can do. These ones would shift some of it but still leave a little bit behind, so that's the Autobrite, Bouncers, Gtechniq, Carpro, Chemical Guys, Turtle Wax and Stjarnagloss. And these ones, I couldn't actually see them doing anything. Doesn't mean they didn't, but I couldn't see. So Adams, Gyeon, Carbon Collective, SC Mist, Mr. Muscle, Into Detailing, Meguiars and Halfords. Are they less powerful, does that mean? I don't really know. But those are my categories. So they got 5 marks, they got 10 marks. We will now go to the next test, or the final results. Next up, triggers and bottles. Primarily triggers, although I did factor in the bottles a little bit. Some were more suitable than others. This is very important, even though I've only allocated 10 marks. A lot of the user feedback noticed triggers, and some guys were really looking at the triggers in detail because it affects the user experience. Also the price, guys. So some of the triggers I know you can get for not a lot of money, maybe like 30, 35p. And some of them I know cost more than £1 and stuff like that. So the argument, you know, if you've got a very cheap product that's right down in the high value category, you could argue perhaps it should have a cheaper trigger because you're not paying for it. If it's a premium product, you'd probably expect a really good high quality trigger. And that wasn't always the case. So I'll give you the results, and that's why we did this testing. Picking up the least amount of marks is the P&S product. The bottle's okay with the Boston top where it's curved so you can get your hand around it. But the trigger is truly awful. It really grunts out and spits everywhere. Unfortunately, everyone's commented on that, and it really does affect the user experience. That's the worst trigger in the test. And second to last place is the Angelwax. It's very hard to hold this. You get no support in your hand. You almost have to hold the bottle and use one finger, and you get this fine mist, which is nice and consistent, but it tends to blow away outside. You can't get that power into it. You can't get that throughput going. And it's got the square neck top bottle, which doesn't fit into the hand as well. A lot of people commented on that trigger as being disappointing. It's a cheap trigger as well, but that's cost saving isn't particularly passed on to you with that particular product. Next up, the Interdetailing one. This has the worst bottle because it's kind of quite squeezy. It's the only bottle you can really squeeze, and the lid kind of doesn't mate up to the bottle as well as some of the others. You can get good throughput from the trigger, but it's a bit of a spitty trigger even when it's at the end there. So that's probably the third worst overall bottle, and again, people have picked up on that. The label's nice though. Next up, both of these products look good. They're in nice bottles, again with the Boston curved top, and the triggers have good draw and throughput, but they can just be a little bit spitty. So here's the Adams, for example. You can see that little spit at the end as well. That goes all down the side of your car if you're spraying direct onto the windscreen. Same a little bit with the Carpro again. There's just less control. If you get a good pull going fast, it's okay, but you see that spitting through that process. So some of them are less prone to doing that. So that's why that's down there in fourth. They're not losing a lot of marks because of this, guys. Again, this trigger thing is only worth 10 in total. So onto all these ones in 5. They're similar sorts of triggers. Let's just give you an example of one. They can deliver a decent misting, but again, you get that bit of spit at the end. You see it? Right at the end of the drawer. And that spit goes over the side of the car. So they're all a little bit prone to that, those ones here. Next up, these 3 products here. These triggers can deliver, they're comfortable and deliver good mist, but they've got some slight flaws. Let's start with this Vela trigger first, or Vela, on the NV Clarity one. Really comfy, good control, but it does give you a little bit of spit at the end. See that? When you release, boop, there. The Gyeon one is less prone to spitting, but just the throughput seems a bit low. So you have to go hard with it. You get less spit, but you've got to give it a good little pump. It's not so bad, but it's not great. So above average, 6 out of 10. The Autobrite Direct one is really comfy in the hand, and you can set the nozzle nice. Gives you a really good draw and a really good mist. You could argue this might deserve a 7 or an 8. The only problem is it's one of the few bottles that doesn't seal. So if you squeeze the bottle, you can see that it's going to spit out on you. So it's not quite airtight. So if you tipped it over or something, you might be all right, but any pressure on it and you're going to lose product and it's going to dribble. So that cost it, apart from that, it's a good trigger, but that cost it getting up here to 7th. These triggers here, Chemical Guys, Stjarnagloss, Bouncers and Mr. Muscle, are all pretty decent. Take the Chemical Guys, for example, not top drawer, but there's a little bit of spit there, you see it? But it's a really nice mist and it feels good, and the spit is a lot less than some of the others. And I think the Bouncers trigger is very similar. Again, really good. Yeah, really good. In fact, it feels a bit heavier. That's a really good trigger. These are worthy of 7 marks, really solid. The Stjarna one feels good as well. A little bit of spit if you go there, but it's not too bad. The spit seems to come with it, not at the end, when you release the trigger, so that's okay. And this cheap Mr. Muscle one feels great in the hand, really well supported, and it's actually a decent trigger. You don't get a little bit of dribble there, but no after dribble when you release. So I don't like the ones that spit when you let go. Now these 4 here, Carbon Collective, Auto Finesse, Autoglanz and Gtechniq, all using the same trigger that you probably may recognise, and it's a really good atomising trigger. Feels great in the hand. Look, you get this really nice mist. Look at that wide cone on it as well. There's a tiny bit of spit, so you want to give it a bit of force. If you go really gently, the thing is it won't release until it builds up a certain amount of pressure. So even then, if I'm going gentle, it's nice. So I think these are really good glass cleaner triggers and got an 8 mark. These ones, and the bottles, sorry, The rounded bottles are slightly better than the square shoulders, but this soft 99 one, guys, it just feels really good. It's a unique trigger, not seen before. And even if you're going soft with the hand, there's no spit out on the dribble. There's a tiny bit that comes out within the mist, you can see there before it gets going, but as long as it's not dribbling down my fingers and all that sort of stuff, it feels like a really good trigger to me. The Koch one as well, the ergonomics on it are brilliant. It really locks into the hand and you get a real beefy draw. Even if you go slow, it's okay. You don't get any draw, any spit back when you release. So that's, I think, an Opus compression one, good trigger. But finally, the winner. This Turtle Wax bottle and trigger is probably the one that costs the most. So a premium product should have a premium bottle and trigger. Watch this, look at this, watch. Watch how long it keeps going, ready? The product's called Mist, and you can almost paint this onto the glass. A lot of people commented when they were using it, they were like, wow, that's unusual. It does have the wow factor, and that's the worthy winner of the packaging and the triggers, and it picks up 10 marks. Next up, the user testing, the backbone, the majority of the marks. This is where it's at, guys. 10 users, including me, and the premise or the question, as I said earlier on, what are your top 5 products, 5th through to 1st, that you would either buy or recommend to other people to buy, and here are the results.
Okay, I've placed Autoglans 5th, Gyeon 4th, Gtechniq 3rd, Autobrite 2nd, and Nilco Nilglass is my winner. Quite simply, they all cleaned really well. It cleaned as well as any of the others. It's cheap, it flashes off nicely, and it's a nice trigger to use. So it's quite a clear winner for me.
Okay, so 5th place we've got Autoglans, then 4th we've got Stoner, 3rd we've got Stjarnagloss, 2nd we've got Bouncers, then 1st place for me is Gtechniq. Really smooth, really nice trigger action and no streaking whatsoever. Really easy, really forgiving to use.
5th Carpro, 4th Koch, 3rd Autoglym, 2nd Autobrite, 1st Chemical Guys.
5th NV, 4th Gtechniq, 3rd Nilco, 2nd Autobrite Direct, and 1st Mr. Muscle, purely because it has a mild water spot remover in regards to the vinegar. It's also readily available in any shops, and it's only £2 a bottle.
So 5th place NV Car Care, 4th place Bouncers, 3rd place the Koch, 2nd place Soft 99 Wash Mist, and the 1st place is there Fast Glass, just because value, clarity, gives a lot smoother finish on the glass, and I think value for money and to recommend would be my number 1.
So in 5th place Autoglym, in 4th place P&S, in 3rd place Bouncers, in 2nd place Turtle Wax, and Gtechniq is number 1 for me because of the value. First of all, it's good value for money. Second of all, it clears grime really well, but it doesn't streak, and third of all, I just like Gtechniq.
Okay, so 5th I've got the Angelwax, 4th I've got the MV Car Care Clarity, 3rd I've got Carbon Collective Refresh, 2nd I've got the Koch Chemi Speed Glass Cleaner, and 1st I've got the Nil Glass. I picked this one because it's streak free, it leaves a real good shine, and it's cheap for what it is, and that would be the one I buy.
My name's John. In 5th place it's Bouncers, in 4th place it's Chemical Guys, in 3rd place it's Stoners, in 2nd place it's Autoglans, in 1st place it's Nilco Nilglass. Cracking value, very powerful, flashes well enough, good bottle, good sprayer, did well in all the lab tests. It's the one that I would buy and recommend. That's my winner.
5th Auto Finesse, 4th Autobrite, 3rd Turtle Wax, 2nd Autoglym, 1st Carpro. Good trigger, good dispersal, clung to the glass, and streak free.
Okay guys, so in 5th place we've got Nil Glass, 4th place Autoglans, and then we've got Hybrid Solutions Turtle Wax in 3rd. Coming in at 2nd, Chemical Guys,
And then number 1 is my personal favourite, Gyeon glass. And the reason why is it evaporates really nice and quickly. It's silky smooth and it just works. And it has a nice scent to it and it's my personal favourite. But they're all good. But this one in particular is my favourite.
Okay guys, so we're going to do the overall results now. So these are the last products and we're going to work our way that way up to all the way to the first. So in 21st place, there's obviously some ties, or it'd be 24th. 0 people picked it. It got 15 points and it's the Meguiars Perfect Clarity Glass Cleaner. Is it a terrible product to be down here? No, I'm going to talk about all of these products later on and why you don't need to worry so much. If it's in this test, there's a reason. But we've got to just go through the results here. In 20th with 0 picks and 19 points was Adams. In 19th with 0 picks and 27 points was Into Detailing Quartz. In 18th place with 0 picks and 32 points was the Halfords Glass Cleaner. In 17th place with 1 pick and 37 points was the Soft 99 Wash Mist. In joint 16th place, both with 1 pick and 39 points, was the Carbon Collective Refresh and the Auto Finesse Crystal Glass. Then we go up to 15th place with 1 pick and 41 points, the Angelwax Vision. Then in 14th place with 1 pick was the Stjarnagloss Glass. Then in 13th place with 1 pick and 50 points was the P&S True View. Then in 12th place with 1 pick and 54 points was the Mr. Muscle. Next up guys, we have 3 products all tying in 11th place with 58 points. These two have got 2 picks, that one's got 3. So that's Gyeon Glass, Gtechniq G6 Perfect Glass and the Australian MV Car Care Clarity. Okay, in 10th place we've got Carpro Clarify with 2 picks and 61 points. I'm going to pan the camera this way so you don't get to see this, it doesn't ruin the surprise. In 9th place is Stoner's Invisible Glass with 2 picks and 67 points. Then in 8th place with 3 picks and 70 points is the Chemical Guys Signature Series. So we're nearing the podium now. In 7th place, sorry, I'm doing the count. 3 picks, 76 points, which is pretty decent, is the Turtle Wax Mist. Now in 6th place, with 4 picks, so 4 out of 10 users picked this. 77 points, Bouncers Look Sharp. It was one off the podium, done pretty well. Autoglans are in 5th place, again with 4 picks, but 81 points, the Autoglanz Moonshine product. We're getting down to the top runners in, let's just move slowly, 4th place with 3 picks and a whopping 85 points is the Autoglym Fast Glass. Now we're getting down to our top 3. Top 3, okay? Okay guys, in 3rd place with a stonking-tastic 94 points, and 5 picks. Half of the users picked this in one form or the other. 3rd place, Autobrite Direct Crystal. Good showing. And in 2nd place with 5 picks. Half the users picked this one as well. And in high places with 123 points. So pretty big gap as well between this and 3rd. It's Koch Chemi Speed Glass Cleaner. Well done. And in 1st place, with half the users picking this again, 5 picks. So it was recommended a lot. It got 130 marks, the highest marks over this really impressive field. How's it managed to pick up so many marks? Well, it did well in the simulator test, which didn't count for much, but it also did well in the trigger and bottle. It comes in a nice ergonomic bottle with a little trigger lock there. It atomises nicely and goes on the glass. The cost, it's the 2nd cheapest, so it picked up 23 marks out of 24 there. And then the user testings, it had a couple of first places and some other, decent recommendations in the top order. So some got recommended quite a few times, but they might have been in the lower order. And it's just picked up the most marks. It goes on the glass well. It flashes reasonably quick. It leaves a streak-free finish. It's also not that grabby. Some of them, if you don't get the balance right of whatever surfactants and solvents they're using, they can flash too quick and you start getting a bit of dry drag. You don't get that with this, and it's nice and smooth and slick when you're buffing it as well. It's a good glass cleaner, and it really shows that perhaps you don't have to spend a a fortune to get a really good product, and I think it's the worthy winner. The problem is we have a very, very good field, and lots of you commented before, well, I've not seen a glass cleaner that's really bad yet. Well, this test kind of emphasises the same thing, but I still think this is the worthy winner. Nilco Nil Glass H3. You can also beat this price. That was off the Nilco website, but I've seen it a lot cheaper in hardware stores and places like that. You can also buy bulk quantities of it, but I'm not factoring that in. It's very cheap when you buy bulk as well. So there we go, guys. I'm just going to round up the final conclusions now. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget you can also support us on Patreon, or there's a new little thank you button. So if you actually follow this recommendation and save money and you want to donate $1 back or something, click on that thank you thing in the browser, wherever it is, whether on phone or thingy, you'll find it. Also, I want you to comment on the video how you feel about the results. Was there any in this order that you thought are better than the winner or should have been higher up? This debate about that. And also let me know if there's any products that you wanted to see in this lineup as well, so I get a better idea for next time. That's always important. It's a massive amount though. I had to draw the line. 24 caused a lot of problems, and that's why I also wanted to draw in all that user testing. I'm going to end this video now. I'm also going to jump on the potato cam and go through each product, and I'll put the video on the main channel talking a bit more about each specific product, and I'll publish that about half an hour after this video is published as well, and it will be a lot of chat about them. And a couple of things, the results in this video are really the opinions of myself and the users. Nothing in this video is meant to be factual. We're trying to kind of give you an opinion on these products. That's all it ever is. And like I said earlier on, I encourage you to try lots of glass cleaners that are in the lower order, because there's some good features about some of these glass cleaners. So follow up the video after this, and I'm going to tell you specifically about how and why some of these products are good and why they may have fallen short and not, you know, got as high up in the user rankings or the overall rankings. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when you